So, Steve, you founded a company called Rise.
Yes.
And I want to set this up and give me some rope here.
Sure.
So here was the need. What you have is you have these aggregating companies, and they're producing more and more leads than ever before. The challenge is when a real estate agent gets a lead, just take a guess at what the conversion rate is. Like, you all know how this goes. And so the aggregators wake up every day and they try to figure out how they're going to get larger conversion. And the problem that they had, at least as I understand it, Steve, they really didn't understand the real estate industry as well as they may have thought.
No, sir.
Why?
So when they started, and this is important, that everybody's figured out that aggregates consumer information now in real estate, that you cannot intermediate the agent. You need the agent. They've all tried it, lost hundreds of millions of dollars, and then figured out we need the agent. Now, what technology people do when they started this 4, 5, 6 years ago is they go out to a brokerage or to a large entity and they say, great, I've got leads for you. And then that brokerage puts every agent into that lead funnel with no training, no understanding of an algorithm. They don't understand the data science. And like every algorithm, the first 2 or 3 months of lead flow, just like if they joined your team or your market center, do you give them your multi-million-dollar sphere leads first? No. So the first 3 months, the aggregators will send them, 420 FICO scores, mobile homes. And what do the agents say without question after 60 days? What do the agents say about the leads? The leads suck. Correct. I'm glad we got the same vernacular here.
You didn't think they were going to say
So,
I thought you'd at least disguise it.
it's so good.
So
Another steak dinner.
the true story. So what happens is then the aggregators come back, and I'm a consulting firm, and we do business with these folks, and they say, these agents don't get it. And I said, well, what are you trying to do? And I explained to them, more agents does not mean more closings. Better agents means more closing.
All right, wait. That's so right. Isn't
Not
that
rocket science in our room, but to them, they're like, tell me more. So,
And I think you all see this in your market centers every day. Well, maybe not. Your market centers are probably better than my market centers. But have you ever had, it calls itself a team, but it doesn't really operate that way. And they onboard a ton of agents, and they bring on more agents and more agents, and then what naturally happens?
Invasion of Body Snatchers team, is that the one you're talking about?
Kinda.
How many of you have had that team that just adds buyer agents after buyer agents? They have no leads, they don't set appointments, right? So lots of hands, but less than what I thought it would be. But what happens with the team members in those teams? Lots of turnover, lots of problems.
It's because they're not actually operating like teams. Yeah. They're more like globs, which is a group of agents all connected by one agent's credit card. And it's what it is. And they show up for a period of time. And the aggregators were having the same problem.
So we went there and I said, listen, we have 619 elite teams and our entities. And those entities all have an accountability leader. We score and these aren't leads, there's a very difference how you define a lead. These are warm connections on the phone. So there's a consumer that's on the phone with their ISA that on average has been communicating for 6.2 weeks, has 14 correspondences, and in the conversation live, twice has said, I'd like to speak to your local expert.
Okay, stop right there. So if you're a note taker, now's the time. And the first thing we have to understand about any lead, we have to define what that actually means. Because for some people, a lead is a name out of a phone book. And for other people, it's if I know how many bedrooms and bathrooms. And other people, it's going to be an actual appointment. And this is no different than, I believe, in the team leader and OP and MCA world. Meaning, just hanging out with someone might not be an appointment. Having a business card might not be a lead. But if we don't define those things, then we all end up having a completely different conversation around the same ideas. So step number one, and we're going to hit this hard throughout the day, if you're ever going to be in the lead business, we have to start by defining what a lead is.
The fastest growing trend is warm connections because they're more mid to low funnel. Our agents are not great, being honest, at 13, 12, 10 months out. Agents aren't good at that. But when I've got a consumer live on the phone asking to talk to a local expert, that's as good as I can give you as someone to have an at-bat. Does not mean every lead is perfect. There are still 420 FICO scores. People still think they can buy a home in Austin, Texas for $225,000, 3-bedroom, 3-bath. Believe me, we've heard it all. However, they transact at a higher level. Now, the system sends an alert out to 5 agents within 10 to 2 seconds. Who do you think gets that warm connection? Which agent? The first one. Now, shockingly, we send out 45,000 warm connects last month.
Wait a second. Say that number again and slow down just a bit, because here's the deal. We're bringing in someone to help teach us all these things. What's that number again?
45,000 times that phone was clicked and we sent out a warm connection. Now, 619 teams, really good entity. Our non-answer rate was 4%, and I was losing my mind.
Meaning they got an alert.
4%, no, not one of the 5 agents in all the groups we pinged clicked. Now, Realtor.com's non-answer rate is 48%. So we teach our agents to snooze in the morning when they work out, when they're having breakfast, when they're in the shower, snooze. Now, when they get up, prepared, ready, they sit down for their lead gen time from 8:30 to 10:30, that phone is on. They have a Mophie battery. The phone never sleeps. It's got an alarm. Our average win alert time is 6.8 seconds. The average time for Realtor.com, Ojo, and Prime Street is 52 seconds. The algorithm is built to feed the strong and starve the weak, which is why... What?
So this whole world of AI is working behind the stage. I want you to think about this for a second. You've all been in an Uber before. I know. And you've rated the driver. I had never really thought about somebody rating real estate agents the same way. And for some reason, I had a really difficult time with it. I kind of laid awake and I thought about that. But understand that the aggregators are literally rating your agents to figure out who they should be sending the deals to. So it's incumbent upon all of us to understand exactly how they're being rated, because here's the thing. When one company knows exactly what they're being scored on and can then take that information back and arm their agents with it, we all win. But if we act like it isn't happening in the background, or if we don't start teaching courses about it, what ends up happening is we become an amalgamation of everybody else. And before you know it, the advantage that we have due to our scale, it gets extinguished. So how does this algorithm work?
So almost all the algorithms are built, again, to feed the stronger converters, because remember, these aggregators don't get paid until what? Closing, which I love, because that's just like us. This is why I like the aggregator. They tend to find who your best converters are. We have carte blanche in the US to add people to the network because they know we're going to train you, onboard you, set your settings up, coach you, and then 4 times a week run a best practices for all your agents that you want to put in the program. We're going to do a national mastermind every month with the largest converting team explaining what they're doing, and we share it across the board.
Steve, what are some of the aggregators, just so we know the names?
Realtor.com, Ojo Labs, Prime Street, Realty.com, Agent Finder.
You could keep going, but they all operate the same way. What we're about to give you, these 5, these hold true for all of them. And you put together a 20 or 30-minute class or mastermind on this, and you're giving the best, most timely information you could give. Okay.
Our company is basically an aggregator of the aggregators. So we put them all into our network, teach our team partners, and then give leads from all of them to our group because they all want the same thing. Now remember, this is important. The number 1 pillar is there for a reason. 78% of the time, the consumer works with the first agent they speak to. Not the best agent, not the most experienced agent, the first agent. So what's the first thing that has to happen? I have to click and I have to be fast, which is why we overemphasize that in every program we do. Speed matters. Amazon has taught us. When I do my little swipe thing and it can't get to me in 2 days, I'm like, oh, for crying out loud. Right? You go order Uber, 9 minutes. Where is this guy? How can he be here in 9? That's what we become, right? Speed matters. And in the future, remember, we don't work with Zillow because I don't believe Zillow is a digital media company. I believe they're a real estate company. Not a real estate. They're real estate. Realtor.com is a digital media company. Ojo's a digital media company. They don't want to be in our space. They need us. They know that, and they want to help us. Secondly, after speed, you have to make notes. And those notes have to be consistent 1 to 2 times a week. And you have to put them in the communication pathway that the aggregator has.
All right, say that. I don't get it.
Communication pathway means Realtor.com uses an app, just like Facebook or Instagram on your phone. They want you to update in that app. They give you additional scoring points, additional lead flow if you do that. Most agents don't know that. If you call or text from the app, you get an even bigger score. The bigger the score, the greater the algorithm, the more leads you get. So we teach our teams, you have your agents updated in your CRM, Command, Boomtown, etc. And then at night, a VA, which we teach this, is a database manager. They go in, and you might have 5 agents that update in the CRM 11 notes. They go in, copy the note, go to Realtor.com, log in as the agent, hit paste, and save it. Go back in, copy the second note. Go to Ojo, log into their thing, copy, and save it. So now you're updating in their pathway, increasing score, increasing quality lead flow.
You know, what's so exciting about this is a service. Think about what he just described. I mean, what he did is he just described a service, which is a way to make the agents' lives who are doing this better. Who are the agents? What's the cohort of agents that are spending money on leads? Is it the new agents or your top agents? Is it your cappers or your non-cappers? Cool, so we wake up every day and say, what's the unique service that we can provide that would make that person stickier to our world, right? And we want to make their life better. Guys, there's no brokerage on the planet that I know of that understands this and is creating a service around it.
We take your settings and we optimize them before we ever turn you on. We know what data science they look for in the beginning, so we start you a little wider, get you 2 or 3 closings early, which as soon as they know you can convert, you go from where you are to quality lead flow. They want you to get more once you show you can convert. And lastly, we talk about patient conversion.
This is a really important one.
Our strength.
Yeah.
You gotta understand that if you get in the lead game in this game, it's a tech, data science, algorithm game that changes regularly. I'm from the great state of Arizona. We have 36 of the biggest teams in the state in our program, and our biggest lead partner was Realtor.com, who about 9 months ago came to us and said, Steve, I have a problem. I have a lot of lease requests, and no agent will take them. And I'm like, I know. They said, if you would help me, if you could get your teams to do 2 leases, I'll double their quality lead flow. I said, no problem. Most of my teams did 3, and some did 5. The next 6 months, lead flow was doubled for those 36 teams. Now, that's something that no one would even know or understand. So the better the agent, the more algorithm and data science we understand, the better we do. Those are your 5 pillars. The nice thing is, as a market center, the scalability and ROI is what makes it so appealing. Okay? It's $300 for an account. The account can have as many agents as you deem in it. We don't ever recommend more than 20 because you can't corral more than 20 people to follow the algorithm and science. Then a lot of our groups have 3 accounts, an A team, a B team, and an emerging team. Because the account gets lead flow based on total score. So if you bring some of the people not very good with your very best, it brings the whole lead flow down. So accountability, to Jason's point, which is our last piece, somebody in your world has to own accountability. Just be on our calls. Make sure you check with your agents. We send you a scoreboard of where all of them are each time. You've got to make sure you look at that, because if you leave people that aren't very good at it in the groups that are good at it, it dilutes the entire account and score, and everyone gets less leads. Make sense?